Man, so the whole thing of dispositions and Mr. House Dispos, we want to make wholesaling easy for our acquisitions partners. So the whole thing is like we want them to go lock up contracts all day, every day, and submit it to our website and then just forget about it until we ask for their wire instructions to get paid. So we take it all the way from, contract to assignment to clearing title, all the way to close. You don't have to do a thing. So that's what our whole goal is here, just make it easy for our acquisitions partners.
Welcome to the Real Estate Pros Show, where we interview real estate investing professionals from coast to coast, as well as the service providers that serve the real estate investing industry. Our goal is simple: share what's working now to help you improve and scale your business to the next level and meet the pros that can help you get there. Real Estate Pros is powered by Investor Fuel, America's leader in helping real estate investors and professionals build the business you need to live the life you've always dreamed of. Let's start today's show. Property insurance for real estate investors doesn't have to be difficult, but it does need to be there to protect you when you need it. MyInvestorInsurance.com not only provides insurance at 15 to 30% cheaper than traditional agencies, it's built specifically for real estate investors like you. You can set up an account in about 2 minutes, get quotes on properties, turn on and turn off insurance for your fix and flip or rental properties in around 2 minutes without having to talk to anyone directly, all through our portal. There's no better way or faster way to make sure you've got the coverage you need to protect you, and no more lengthy policies either. Once you're set up, you're billed monthly and prorated by the day for however long your policy is active. It's powered by MSI, the third largest independent MGA, with 1.5 million customers and more than $1 billion in cumulative premiums written. Get set up today in about 2 minutes at myinvestorinsurance.com/fuel.
Hey folks, welcome back to the show. Today's guest, Braden Bissell, is an investor who's active in both Texas and Florida. He's based out of DFW, and he's the founder and owner of Mr. House. You can find him and his team at mrdispodeal.com. Braden, thank you for taking the time today.
Oh, thank you, Dylan. I appreciate that warm intro.
Absolutely, man. And I lived in DFW for a little under a year, and I certainly know the market well. I want to ask you right off at the top, when we talk about wholesale, when we talk about real estate investing in general, I tend to think DFW is one of the best places in the country for really any aspiring investor, especially in a single family segment, to cut their teeth. When you were getting started, were you out there in DFW, and what was your experience like?
Oh yeah, hands down, DFW, Texas as a whole is one of the biggest wholesale markets in wholesaling in general. Yes, we definitely got started in DFW. We had a brief background of door knocking pre-foreclosures, cold calling pre-foreclosures. It's kind of how we got our feet wet, just getting deals that way. We closed, I think, like 10 or so deals, like doing door knocking and cold calling. That's kind of how Mr. House formed into a disposition company.
Now, when we talk about both sides of wholesale, of course, acquisitions and dispositions is what we're talking about here. You've got to be skilled in both. There's a lot of people, or you have to say, hey, I'm going to do what you're doing and make a name for myself. One, but you really have to understand how to take these deals from the cradle to the grave, because what what happened over time, and I saw this over a period of months and years, is they used to have this thing, well, if you get a good deal, the investors will come. I didn't necessarily think that that was always true. I felt like once you have a good deal, you've got to know how to dispo it. Like, you can have the greatest deal in the world, honestly, but just by posting it on Facebook, especially if your following isn't, that big, you're not necessarily going to find a buyer for that deal. When you were in your first year, 2 years in the business, what were some of the learning curves that you had to go through, either on the acquisition side or on the dispo side?
Man, so the whole thing of dispositions and Mr. House Dispos, we want to make wholesaling easy for our acquisitions partners. So the whole thing is like we want them to go lock up contracts all day, every day, and submit it to our website and then just forget about it until we ask for their wire instructions to get paid. So we take it all the way from, contract to assignment to clearing title, all the way to close.
Stop living on an island and join the #1 mastermind in America for professional real estate investors. Investor Fuel is a community of hundreds of the nation's top investors working together to build stronger businesses and better lives. In addition to the amazing community of real estate investors acting as a board of advisors for one another, Investor Fuel members have access to 100% funding on purchase and repairs for our members only, a health insurance program, and benefits and discounts that more than pays for the membership of most of our members, meaning it's actually costing you money to not be a member of Investor Fuel. If you're looking to scale your business and build a business that allows you to live the life of your dreams, please visit investorfuel.com today and book a call with our team.
You don't have to do a thing. So that's what our whole goal is here, to make it easy for our acquisitions partners, because I can't tell you how many things like we've shot ourselves in the foot the first couple years by, maybe accepting an option period or doing low EMD or refundable EMD, things like that, that just over time we learned like, okay, we can't do this. So now we have a strict set of rules that we have to obey by, or we can't run as a solid company. So now, we're all about hard EMD, no option periods. We are talking to legit buyers that actually have cash that they're ready to play with.
Now, how much EMD are you asking for these days?
It's a little different, so it depends on the purchase price of the home, but anywhere from $5,000 to $10,000. If it's up in the $1 million range of purchase price, we've done up to 15,000.
So one of the questions that I have is for investors who, are putting that earnest money down and then there's no option period, how fast are they closing after it? I mean, that's basically saying like, hey, the only thing we need to do is just, get our finances in a line and we'll be ready to buy this property.
Yeah, so it could be the next day, it could be the next week. It just depends. Sometimes these files come with a lot of, hard commitments that we got to clear and just a lot of BS that we have to deal with. So we get all that clear. It could be the next day, it could be a week, it could be 3 weeks. It just depends on title. But most of our buyers, if we can bring a clear title to them, contract ready to go, then we can usually close within like 2 to 3 days.
One of the areas of this which becomes, tricky is especially for folks who may be wholesaling and, the investors want to walk the property, make sure it's going to pass an inspection, that type of thing. If there's no option period, are investors basically buying these sight unseen?
No, so that's one thing that we do is we want everybody to walk the property before they submit an offer, because we have had sight unseens go bad. So they'll put down EMD, and then 2 days before closing they go walk the property, and it's drastically different than what they thought. Now they're backing out of the deal and ruining a relationship because they want their EMD. Just a whole bunch of BS that comes with sight unseen. So our investors walk the property, they get their contractors in there, their, foundation guy, whatever they need to do. We request that they do that before they sign any paperwork with us.
Now, I've seen it. I'm sure you've seen it. I mean, you told me before hopping on here about, 80 plus deals that you did last year. There's been so many instances where you're right up against, closing's coming up in a couple of days. And then, the buyer's lender, something happens with the lender. Of course, we can only do so much to control a lender, but what steps do you take to mitigate that level of uncertainty?
Sure. So we have a full-time transaction coordinator. So as soon as we put ink on the paper with that buyer, our TC is reaching out to the buyer, getting their lender information, figuring out any contingencies that they need to close the file, and then they're constantly hounding them in to get these things approved for us to go to the closing table. So it came with a lot of, we had to learn by doing this the hard way, but now we've got a full system put together where I mean, some of our buyers, they get a little annoyed of RTC, but most of them love RTC because she's on it 24/7, making sure everything's done in order for us to go.
It's a really does she handle like the contracts portion of it as well and making sure signatures are in the right place and that type of thing?
Yeah, she's sending out contracts, everything that comes with the job. Because our whole thing is we want our disposition reps to be working these deals 24/7.
If you're looking for consistent, high quality leads, look no further than Investor Machine. Investor Machine isn't just another agency, it's the most sophisticated, data driven lead generation company on the planet for real estate investors, and serves the role of being not just a lead generator for your business, but a marketing partner that is helping you achieve your goals along the way. Go to investormachine.com to learn more and schedule a call with our team today.
We don't want them to have to, write up a contract or do something over here. We want them on the phones talking to buyers and selling deals. So the way that we do this all in syncrasy is having our TC ready to go. As soon as we get an acceptable offer, she's writing up the contract and we're, on to the next step there.
Deal with this as a real estate agent. This is the silliest thing. It's maybe a human limitation, but like you'll be in the process of doing so much outreach and networking, and you're basically thinking about expanding your sphere of influence, right? And then when it comes to like sending out a contract, it's like your brain has to go into some other different type of capacity where you're like, okay, now I got to go through, for the brokers that I'm with, we use a tool called like Sky Slope. So you're going in, you're trying to send out, certain types of forms, and you're just thinking like, what do I do here? What do I do here? And then you got to pivot your brain back. And so that division, to have someone who's specifically their X's and O's are, hey, I got to reach out to the lenders. Hey, I got to get these documents signed, and then divide that from folks who are dispo, and I think is great.
Yeah, yeah. We try to make it as easy as possible on everybody, so everybody loves working for us. We don't want anybody doing jobs that they don't want to do. We want them to come in happy, bang the phones, write the contracts, whatever their job is, they're happy doing it.
Now, I know that you're also active in Florida. Do you have someone who's living out there in Florida? How'd you get started in Florida?
Believe it or not, Texas and Florida have a lot of overlap. We've noticed when we were strictly working Texas that a lot of our Texas investors were actually investing in Florida as well. So the states they kind of work together, as in like ARV, purchase price, stuff like that is very similar. So sorry, my screen just cut out.
That's okay. We still hear you.
What was the question? I apologize.
No, that's okay. I was saying, you are active in Florida. Did you have folks who were, you know, uh, based out of Florida, and you were saying that you had realized or seen that a lot of Texas investors are also active simultaneously in some Florida markets as well.
Yeah, so they definitely are. That's kind of where we noticed that there was a niche that we were missing. So we expanded into Florida too to make sure that we could cover all aspects of what our buyers are wanting. So we kind of went in there cold feet, didn't really know what we were doing, but through time, within a year or two, now we have a solid buyers list in Florida that we can rely on, VIP buyers that'll pick up, anything that we put out there.
Now, I don't want you to give away all the gold here, Braden, but if you could give us maybe a nugget or two. When we talk about Dispo and when we talk about having these relationships with buyers, now you can have a great buyers list, or so you think, right? But then when it comes time to put the pedal to the metal and you need a deal to get across the line, you got to be able to pair it with someone who is gonna close on it. What is your approach to that? And then also too, is it better to have really like a massive list that you kind of shotgun these properties out to, if you were giving advice to other folks, or is it better to have maybe a smaller pool of buyers but folks who you feel like, hey, they've closed before, they'll close again?
Yeah, so with us being a disposition company, we do both for sure. We have a VIP list that we blast our deals to first. These are guys that we talk to monthly that we have built a actual relationship with. So when they get an email or a text or a phone call from Mr. House, they know, okay, this is something that I need to look at because we've sent them deals before. We've closed deals with them before that have brought them massive profits, so they know, okay, when a Mr. House deal comes in their inbox, this is something that they need to look at. But obviously, us being a disposition company, We don't just want to put all of our eggs in that one basket. So we're using all of our systems to get these deals out there. So we've got the investor lift cartel. We've got
Yeah.
any other system that you can think of. Our overhead is like $15,000 a month just on systems to get these deals out there.
If you're a new or newer real estate investor looking to launch or grow your real estate investing business, please check out Investor Fuel Club. It's a coaching community, but unlike anything you've ever seen before. And you can actually partner with members of our mastermind from coast to coast on deals right in your market. There's no better opportunity to build a consistent business than to literally partner with pros to help you avoid costly mistakes, avoid the need for capital to do deals, and help you eliminate your fears as you're starting your business. Learn more about Investor Fuel Club at investorfuel.com/club.
That investor lift cartel is incredible. I believe I've used it a couple times before, and I'm sure it's improved now since it was about more than a year ago when I was using it. But aside from this, and pivoting a bit here, Braden, I would like to talk briefly about taking these deals, from the cradle to the grave, as it were, right? And so, from folks who may be newer to wholesale in general, and they may have stumbled upon their first deal. One of the things that I hear people talk, let's take Texas for example, is, hey, what forms do I use, right? Do I use a Trek 1 to 4? Should I come up with my own custom form? Do you have any feedback for folks who may be thinking about, wait, what do I use to get this deal under contract?
Yeah, I'd recommend that you reach out to me and I can give you the correct, contracts or whatnot to get these properties under contract. In Texas, I'll tell you, when I first started, I was all about the Trek just because it's the standard, Texas real estate contract. And that shows a lot of I don't know. When you bring it to a seller, they typically know what that is or they've heard of it before. So it eases the process a little bit doing it with the Trek. But we definitely do have like a 2-page contract that we use for nationwide that gets the job done just as well. And I would be happy to share that with anybody that reaches out to me.
Now, what's interesting about these contracts, because I know before I was a real estate agent, before I was a wholesaler, these contracts seem to be like the most coveted thing. Like, hey, if you do this, you'll get these contracts. And I was like, okay, well, I got to get the contracts. What I later learned is, someone might have paid money to an attorney to have these contracts written up, and so of course they're valuable. But also, too, I'm a realtor, and I can say this. Hopefully, I'm not offending any realtors. The Trek contracts themselves are pretty complicated, and
Yeah.
I believe it's the attorney broker committee in Texas that writes up these contracts. It gets longer and longer, like every couple of years, and I want to say it's like 11 or 12 pages long right now. Don't quote me on that, but it's one of these deals where if you can do the Trek contract, that's not some small feat. And so once they've got that contract, they've got the seller, right? And again, I'm going through this on a granular level, hopefully for folks who are interested in taking one of these deals from the cradle to the grave. The next step at that point in time would be to bring it to a title company. At least that's what I would do. What would you do at that point in time?
Yeah, so bring it to a title company. We've got a ton of title companies in Texas that we highly recommend that can get any wholesale deal done, cash, traditional, whatever it is, sub two, they can get it done for you. That's one thing that I preach heavily is if you're going to be a wholesaler, create strong relationships with your title office because you want your title office to be, in your corner fighting for you. So that's what we try to do. We're actually very good friends with our title office, the owners of them. So we've created a very strong friendship through real estate, just doing it like that. But I definitely recommend finding a title office that you like, that you guys vibe with, and using them strictly. Once you start bouncing around and stuff like that, everything gets a lot more complicated.
Once you've got the contract, you've brought it to title. Now you've got to find your buyer. Now, for a lot of folks, that's where now they've got they're back to the wall, so to speak. They've got to
Yeah,
find something. They've got to find something because the clock's ticking for them to close. But in the case of working with you, if I was to send you a deal, what's the process like?
sure. So we have a website. It's mrdispodeal.com. what you would do is go on there and just plug in all the information about the deal. We have a set amount of questions that we ask you about it. If you've done any marketing, beds and bath, and then you'll also upload the contract there. Our team will then take a look at the deal. We will underwrite it as we underwrite everything to make sure it's actually a sellable deal. So after we underwrite, we'll either approve or deny. Well, if it's approved, we'll give you a call. We'll send you a JV, tell you where we think we can sell it at, and then we'll start the process. The process is a 72-hour period where we can typically get the deal assigned. If not assigned, we'll get some type of feedback or offers within that 72 hours. So that way we're not wasting a lot of time. Within that 72 hours, we either want offers on the table or to pivot. And by that I mean to like go get a price reduction, or maybe you need to pivot to sub two, whatever it is. That's at the 72-hour mark. That's when we're like, okay, here's all the feedback that we have. Now let's make a decision. If we don't accept the deal, then we will call you and also go through the deal with you, let you know why we don't think it's a deal, let you know where the numbers would be at if it's a sellable deal. So that way you're not just like getting a deny. We're actually going into depth. We're teaching you why it's not a deal, teaching you how to make it a deal. And that way, when you're in that situation again, you've got that in the back of your head of, okay, now I know what a deal is. I know what isn't. So let's get this under contract at the right price.
I think, that information is invaluable for people, because if you're coming up against, can't find a buyer for the deal, and then you're reaching out to someone and it's getting rejected, but at least you have that ability to say, okay, well, this is where I need to be at. Maybe they could even go back to the seller at that point and say, hey, this is where we think we'll get some traction.
Yeah.
But if we're not there, then we won't be able to even explore this any further. But Braden, we are coming up on time here, though. Any new projects that you're working on? And then also too, what's the best way for folks to get in contact with you and your team?
Sure. So we just announced last week that we are now nationwide. So we can help you with any deal in any state. Just go to mrdispodeal.com and submit all the information about the deal and the contract. If the contract is not on the submission, we will not look at it. It just wastes our time. So we have to make sure we have everything on there ready to go. Um, so that's what we're doing this year. And to reach me, you can always, my cell phone's open 24/7. It's 972-482-8711. Shoot me a text, give me a call. I would love to talk to you about real estate or how we can help you, improve your business. Whatever it is, go grab a drink, go grab some lunch. I'm open to anything.
Braden, thanks for taking the time today. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you, Dylan. I appreciate the time.
Thanks for joining us for today's Real Estate Pros Show. You can learn more about the amazing benefits of the Investor Fuel Mastermind community, including surrounding yourself with hundreds of other rock stars, 100% financing for your deals, and members-only discounts from vendors you're likely already using that, as a member of Investor Fuel, will save you more than the cost of your membership. Visit investorfuel.com to learn more. If you're interested in joining us as a guest of this show, please visit investorfuel.com/pros to apply. You can also check the show notes for access to free resources, how to get access to world-class lead generation, and much more. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss another episode. Have a great day. We'll see you on the next show.